I'm Comrade D. Luke, and this is my One Piece Chapter 1117 review. I'm going to jump right into this one because this chapter is a doozy. We're not going to waste any time here. I'm going to jump right into the chapter. I know I haven't done any reviews up until this point, but I figured now is as good a time as any to jump right in because Vegapunk just ended his message. So let's see what Vegapunk has to say. And right away on page 1, we see the return of the king, Don Krieg. He's here, he's back with his buddy Jin. So that's pretty exciting to see those two characters. Now, I don't have much to say about what they're doing here. This is more so just like a reference to these characters, classic Bharati characters. But it does emphasize the importance of this Vegapunk message, where he's spreading this to every corner of the One Piece world. Every character we could possibly imagine is being represented in this message scene, which I think is really, really cool. And a few panels later on the same page, we see one of my favorite characters, Cricket, and his monkey friends. And they're gonna dive down to the water and look for gold. If you remember all the way back in Jaya, that was the first thing they had done, which was they had that really cool ship that would go down into the water and pick things up. That's when we see that scene with that picture that kind of looks like Nefeltari D. Lily. So there's some relevancy to that as well, so very interesting. On to the next page, we get some panels of the Marines, specifically the Sword Marines. Now, this is a storyline that I have been very invested in, is the Marine storyline. I've been theorizing about what's going to happen with these Marine characters. Are they going to coup the Marines like Kainu, or just cause some sort of split? Or are they still operating underneath Okainu's rule and they're gonna kind of go against the world government and sort of a third party thing? Kujaku's line here where she says, also noted, I'm using the TCB version of this chapter, not the Viz release, so there might be some changes after this video comes out. That's just how it's gotta be. But Kujaku says here, it's our turn to step up. So they're going to go into action. I think that's another thing I would like to emphasize about this whole Vegapunk message, is that it's a very galvanizing message. Everything he's saying here, no character is going to hear what he says and then not do anything. Everyone's going to be doing something, particularly these Sword Marines. They've been super active in the story, in the background for a while now, basically since the Reverie, and most recently with the Hachinosu raid. So I'm very curious to see what's going down with these Marine characters. We also see X-Drake on the next page, which is really, really interesting. He's alive. I wonder what he's up to. He's not looking happy. And on the same panel, we get one of my favorite characters, Smoker. I think he's a Vice Admiral at this point. Yeah, Vice Admiral Smoker, with a dope bike, riding on the water. I thought that Smoker was going to be on Egghead Island. This is a theory I had way back at the beginning of Egghead Island, because if you remember back in, I think, Dressrosa, it said that Smoker, at the end of Punk Hazard, Smoker and Tashigi were going to take those kids to see Dr. Vegapunk. And they were going to get them healed by Dr. Vegapunk. And we see Tashigi and those kids at the G14 Marine base. But Smoker was notably absent. So I kind of had the idea, like, okay, well, maybe Smoker's on Egghead Island talking to Vegapunk one-on-one with some other information that he needs to know. Maybe Smoker is going to get connected with the revolutionaries. That was kind of my idea. I still think that's possible, especially if these Marines in Sword are really going to start doing their own thing. Not that we know that Smoker or Tashigi are in Sword. It doesn't seem like they are. But there's some serious changes coming in the Marines, and I've always suspected that Smoker was going to be at the forefront of those changes. So really cool to see him back in the story. I hope he gets more of a spotlight, because he's been unfortunately sidelined for a very long time, basically since Punk Hazard. So very excited to see Smoker again. Now, I don't want to do too much power scaling discussion here, but there is that really cool panel of Zoro and Nosjuro having a clash, and Zoro kind of picks up on, like, oh, he has a Kitetsu, what's going on there? And there's a lot of black lightning, like big hockey bursts, so that's good for Zoro fans, I guess. I really don't care about power scaling at all, but it is interesting to see that the Gorosei are strong. I had always suspected that they were weak, so this was a surprise to me that the Gorosei are like significant fighters, hockey men type characters. Yeah, and Vinos Juro has like the coolest design by far. I think he's like the dopest looking Gorosei easily. So everything with the Straw Hat storyline is directing them to Elbaf. I think that's very obvious to everyone. But what's still a bit ambiguous is whether or not they're even going to escape Egghead for one, and if they're going to Elbaf directly next. We still don't know that for sure. So I'm going to keep it in the back of my mind that it might be a little bit harder to get to Elbaf than it might seem right now. The Giants are a seriously powerful force, as we see in the next page. The Giants assaulting the Marine ships and protecting the Elbaf ship, which is one of the coolest panels ever. And I love the Giants. I'm so excited for the Elbaf arc. But don't be surprised if there's like a small arc in the middle, sort of like a Zoe type deal. I don't know. We'll see. It's interesting. And it's possible that the Straw Hats get split up between the Sunny and the Elbaf ship and maybe go to different places, sort of in like a Dressrosa Zoe sort of deal, but that's all just speculation. Seeing Doll attack is pretty cool. Rock and Roll Blaster. I like that. Doll's a great character. Now, the Ancient Robot is a really interesting piece of this arc. Even from the very first chapters of Egghead, there was emphasis placed on this robot, being the one who attacked Marijwa 200 years ago, for some unknown reason. Now, there is a lot of mystery around that event 200 years ago, because why did the Ancient Robot wake up? That's what I want to know. Because we only see him wake up recently in Elbaf, or not Elbaf, Egghead, because of Luffy's awakening in his Gear 5th Nika form. Something about that, something about this sun god energy that is still a bit ambiguous, definitely tied to the Mother Flame, that is activating the robot and actually turning it on, allowing it to walk around. Which is not a confirmed idea, but it seems very plausible. So the question becomes, why did this ancient robot activate 200 years ago? Was there another awakened user of the Nika fruit? I thought it was established that this hasn't happened in many years now. So there's some questions around what coincided with that event. I think we'll learn more about that later on. He says, among you there is Mo, and then the transmission cuts out when the Gorosei attack the giant. Now, I can't say too much about what this Mo means, because we don't know necessarily if it's an English word or a Japanese word, meaning something like Raftel to Laugh-tail, which is a dual language kind of phonetic word, which we're going to have to wait for the official release to really get an idea of what he's going to say here. But the characters he highlights here are important. Oda, that is. He highlights Dragon, who is a member of the D clan. He highlights Sabo. Sabo is not in like a shaded kind of drawing style. He's just kind of bringing up Ace and Luffy, who we both know are members of the D clan. Same with Kobe, who brings up Luffy and Garp. So those are some interesting characters, right? Dragon, Luffy, Ace, Garp. The next panel we see Blackbeard. This is the first time we see Blackbeard throughout this whole Vegapunk message as well. So that's a very notable thing. Blackbeard, the only reaction shot we get of him to Vegapunk's message is right here, where he's reacting to something about the letter D. And then we see Beppo referencing Law. So those are our main D players, minus Vivi. We actually do see Vivi in the next page, but she's not given special emphasis as like a member of the D clan, someone who Vegapunk is referencing here. So I guess just like off the cuff, what could Vegapunk be talking about here? Those of you who carry the letter D in your name. Mo. He's sort of saying one of you... Well, he's referencing all of the D clan. Those of you who carry the letter D in your name. I really wish he said what he wanted to say. Whatever he had to say was seriously important enough for Oda to cut it off right there. I had thought originally that this message was going to end with Vegapunk revealing the identity of Emu to the whole world. That would be a really, really crazy end to this whole message, right? Just revealing to the One Piece world, like, there is a king on the empty throne. This is who it is. Emu Neurona. Bam. Big bombshell. Message ends. But he doesn't do that, which is fine. I'm assuming Oda will reveal Emu in another way that's going to be just as cool. But instead he places emphasis on the D clan. So I don't really have many ideas right now as to like what he's talking about. Maybe like a traitor amongst the D, or like someone who, or just saying that the D clan in general is important to bringing the dawn, which could be important to tell the rest of the world. I mean, all the members of the D clan kind of have that idea. I don't know. I really don't know. Seeing Blackbeard's really cool though. The ancient robot getting defeated by the Gorosei was a lot faster than I think I expected, but it's whatever. He might get back up. It's not done and out forever. The messages though. So yeah, overall this message has been really crazy. I know a lot of people were a bit disappointed by it, saying, oh, he didn't reveal enough, he didn't drop as many lore bombs as I wanted him to. But that's kind of missing the point as to what this message actually is, which is almost a parallel, if I may, to think about Punk Hazard, when Law is giving that speech to Luffy, where he tells him like the whole plan as to like what they're going to do to take down the Four Emperors and Kaido. That speech sets the tone for the entire New World saga, the entire Four Yonko saga, and is really a pivotal turning point in the direction of the story at that point. Because before that, there wasn't really a clear direction as to where we were going to head in the New World. Right after Fishman Island, we get introduced to the idea of the Big Mom Pirates. We start to learn more about what the Marines and the world government are up to, but there's still not a clear direction as to, well, what are we going to be doing long term in this saga? And that's sort of what that speech that Law gives to Luffy is bringing to light. It's like, okay, this is the task. We're going to go and take down Kaido. That's what this saga is going to be about. And so this Vegapunk message sort of serves a similar purpose in the story, where he's laying out, well, these are all the connecting ties between what's going on in the world and what needs to happen in this final saga, which is why it's so significant, right? Law was only talking to Luffy back in Punk Hazard, but here Vegapunk is talking to the entire world. It's not just a message for Luffy. In fact, Luffy's not even listening to this message. It's everyone else in the world. Dragon, Blackbeard, the Marines, Gin and Krieg, literally everybody. And that is going to set the direction of everyone's actions going forward. So this is a seriously pivotal moment in the story, where, yeah, we don't get huge reveals about the identity of Joy Boy or Emu or like things like that, which isn't even necessarily true. We did get huge reveals. We learned that the entire world has been sunken 200 meters for the past 1,000 years, which is very, very significant, right? But yeah, that's sort of what is going on here, is that Vegapunk is using this message to communicate to the whole world. Oda is using this message as a crutching turning point in the story. So I'm very, very excited for the post-Egghead arc chapters, where we'll see all of these different groups kind of coalescing what their plan is going to be. Like I said, you can't hear this message and then just keep doing the thing that you were doing before. The only exception to that is the Yonkos, who are already going after One Piece, but this is going to galvanize them even further into pursuing One Piece as quickly as possible. The war for the One Piece is going to be extremely awesome. The final thing I have to say about the Vegapunk message is the absences as to who we did not see reacting to this message. And I think there's two main characters who we didn't see reacting. That's Buggy and Shanks. Why did we not see what Buggy and Shanks have to say about this? Shanks in particular is a bit suspicious. Well, does he know what's going on? Is this what Roger was telling Shanks way back before they went to Laugh-Tale, or after they went to Laugh-Tale? Is Shanks about to go into action himself? I think there's a lot of unanswered questions about what Shanks is up to. And as for Buggy and the Cross Guild, we saw a little bit of Crocodile, but we didn't see Mihawk and Buggy reacting to this message at all. So I'm hoping that maybe
down the line after Egghead's over, we'll get some dedicated chapters to the Cross Guild and the Red Hair Pirates and really see what their thoughts are on this whole ordeal. Another parallel I would like to bring up is between Egghead and Sabaody. Both of these arcs center the Celestial Dragons as the main antagonistic force in the story. But the key difference here is in Sabaody, the Marines were the threat, right? Kizaru, Sentomaru, the Pacifista,